Talk about sacrifice. As thousands of buildings went up in flames like these here on Skyway, firefighters faced the very real dilemma: either monitor their own homes that were likely going up in flames or help their neighbors, friends, and the community. And that's what many of them did. This is the nightmare that people are dealing with out here in Vacaville. Look at all of this fire here along Cherry Glen Road. Fire lines seem to be holding, but air crews are making sure it stays that way by dropping water on hot spots to make sure that the fire doesn't rage through the rest of the canyon. And the glow of this fire is showing why people had to escape the area. Houses on fire, vehicles charred and abandoned. Flames dot the landscape of Paradise. A caravan of ambulances, firefighters, and other emergency crews make their way in as a woman on a stretcher in the bed of a pickup truck makes her way out. Amid the chaos, a break for John Meskel. A cellist for the Paradise Symphony, John is bicycling his way to safety. And so now you're on your bicycle.
I went back to get the bicycle because that'd be some wheels anyway.
The only thing he grabbed on his way out, his cello.
It's the most intrinsic valuable thing I have. It's my livelihood.
John's lived in Paradise for nearly 2 decades.
I came out after the movie. The sky was ominously dark, and I also had to go through some fire flashes, with flaming embers from a house across the street.
But he wasn't able to grab everything.
I had it in a cage to put the clamp on. It slid out in panic and went underneath the house, and it was too late to try to rescue the cat.
Taking a break from the inferno for a moment of calm. John just got back on his bike and he is heading on his way towards Chico. The winds are picking up now, and in fact you might be able to see some of the embers that are falling like snowflakes. That glow still behind me. It's bad out here, and we spoke with a CAL FIRE spokesperson just a little while ago, and he said Paradise is essentially gone. Live in Butte County, Marlei Martinez, KCRA 3 News.
Marlei joins us now from Ridgecrest. So Marlei, you're at the earthquake shelter. What are people feeling tonight? They have been through so much.
Well, Edie, people are really on edge. Even though it's been a few days since the last major quake, you can imagine they already survived a 6.4 earthquake. And even though the chances were low the very next day, then survived a 7.1. So now they're just waiting with bated breath. Is the next one coming?
And there have been so many aftershocks, thousands of them. Have you been feeling those, Marlei?
Well, actually, since we've arrived, we have felt 2 of them. The first night we were here on Saturday night, it was just around 10 o'clock at night. We were just about to go live. We were sitting in our crew car when all of a sudden the car started to shake, and then the windows nearby started to rattle. The dogs that were in the background at the mobile home park we were at, they all started barking, and it turns out that was actually a 4.5 magnitude earthquake according to the USGS. And then later that night, when we were sleeping at the hotel, I was in bed, and the bed actually started to move. Another 3.5 earthquake. So understandably, that's why the people here, they can't quite relax, even though the chances are still so low that there won't be another big quake. Everyone you talk to, when you meet people for breakfast out here on the street, they just wonder, is there another one coming?
Yeah, and you just can't blame them. Of course, we wish them all the best. And Marlei, we wish you a safe trip back to Sacramento. Thank you.
Well, the investigation is really ramping up here in Santa Barbara. The NTSB arrived here on scene this morning, and a spokeswoman says she is 100% confident they will figure out what caused this boat fire. Newly released video from the U.S. Coast Guard shows the dive boat Conception fully engulfed in flames Monday morning, just a half hour before it sank to the bottom of the ocean. This morning, the Coast Guard calling off the search. 34 people now presumed dead.
It is never an easy decision to suspend search efforts. We know that this is a very difficult time for families and friends of the victims.
The Coast Guard making the tough call because crews have not spotted more people nor debris.
This makes in total 20 victims who have been recovered and transported to our Coroner's Bureau.
The Sacramento County coroner in Santa Barbara today helping identify victims with rapid DNA technology. Teams swabbing relatives and running samples through an Andy machine where results could come back within 2 hours.
That time that you have to wait for DNA in a standard situation where you're waiting, weeks or months, that's excruciating for a family member.
Teams are working to identify the 11 female victims and 9 male victims crews found so far. And as flags fly at half-mast, Loved ones are hoping for some type of confirmation that can help lead to closure. And though the search for survivors has been suspended, there is still a lot of work to be done. Crews are going back into the water. Their goal today is to stabilize the boat on the ocean floor in hopes that they'll be able to retrieve the other victims still inside. Live in Santa Barbara, Marlei Martinez, KCRA 3 News. And you can see back out here at the Santa Barbara Harbor that the sheriff teams have just arrived here on the boat. You can see all of the gear that they brought out with them. Their goal today was to get back out on the water, not to search for survivors, but a recovery mission to stabilize that boat and hope that they'll be able to get the victims still left inside. And we talked to the Sacramento County coroner earlier this evening. She says they were set with their machines, those Andy machines, to analyze DNA, but no confirmation or any results as of yet. Those Andy machines, she says Sacramento County is not paying for those machines. The company itself is actually providing it, just like they did during the campfire last year. Live in Santa Barbara, Marlei Martinez, KCRA 3 News.
KCRA 3's Marlei Martinez shows us the major damage one family is dealing with.
There haven't been many reports of structural damage from the Ridgecrest earthquake, but not everyone was so lucky, like this family that lives in Trona. We were invited here to this house, and you can see that the entire house actually shifted backwards. The front wall now lopsided. There's a gap by the front door. The front door itself even moved back. On the side of the house, this is where their washer and dryer room are. The machines also shifted from the wall because of that powerful earthquake. A family of 6 lives inside this house, a mom, a dad, and their 4 young boys. They were inside the house when the latest earthquake hit, and they ran outside to safety. Here on their driveway, you can see the cracks from the actual earthquakes. A family of 6 that lives here with 4 young boys. This is their driveway where they play basketball. Now you can see it's a mess, and they told us about their journey moving forward.
We were actually hearing the door frames creaking with the aftershocks after the first big one.
Wow,
creaking and breaking still. It was pretty scary. My kids were scared. The baby was crying. We all ran and stood by the door. And then my husband was like, just take the kids and go outside. And like right after we all got outside, the ground started shaking and it was hard to stand up. That's all from the second one. We haven't really cleaned up anything. My gas had to be shut off after the first 6.4 earthquake.
So this is your kitchen, or
Yep,
what's left of it.
was my kitchen, yeah. This is my living room. I think that's the broken TV. This is my oldest son's room. And this is the closet after the earthquake. Very stressful and scary after something like that, especially when you don't have a home to go back to. This is our bedroom. Our closet doors came off the tracks. Everything in our closet fell. This wall is now all leaning because of the earthquake. It was standing straight up. There's a bunch of gaps under my house now.
And so what's next for you guys?
Moving whatever we can or whatever we can salvage from the house. We're just kind of taking everything as it comes, and we're still all okay, so that's what matters.
In Trona, Marlei Martinez, KCRA 3 News. Terrifying moments aboard the dive boat Conception, roaring flames illuminating the darkness just past 3 this morning.
Vessel in distress, this is Coast Guard Sector Los Angeles on channel 16. What is your position and number of persons on board? Over.
I can't breathe. 39 POV.
A frantic voice saying dozens of people on board. Another Good Samaritan boat called the Grape Escape, saving 5 crew members.
The crew was actually already awake and on the bridge, and they jumped off.
But the others,
Fire off Santa Cruz Island.
trapped below the flames. The Coast Guard heard talking with someone on the Conception.
There's 33 people on board the vessel that's on fire. They can't get off. Roger, are they locked inside the boat? Roger, can you get back on board and unlock the boat, unlock the doors so they can get off? Roger, you don't have any firefighting gear at all? No fire extinguishers or anything?
Firefighters battled the flames as the boat eventually sank 20 yards offshore, going 60 feet down to the bottom. Majority of the passengers still missing.
My understanding, or the report I received, they were below decks asleep.
By water and land, the Coast Guard, firefighters, and emergency crews seen working around the clock, transporting some on stretchers, as one man is able to walk back to his family.